Welcome to ELF Center 2 for Leaves and Cones for the year-long theme Designs in Nature.
All right, Center 2 is called Leaf Games, and you're going to start out this center by needing a lot of leaves. So if you're the one doing it, you'll need to bring in 30 different leaves from at least 15 different species to play the Crazy Leaves game. Crazy Leaves is, we suggest you play it with second, third, and fourth graders, but it's up to you if you want to do it with kindergarten one. But we have another game, Leaf Concentration, for that. So, as with all the ELF centers, it's important to kind of start with the dry stuff before you jump in. And in this case, the dry stuff gives you background to be able to play the games. And you'll start out by just a brief discussion and/or introduction, depending on what center they've been before, to the details of a leaf and their characteristics. There are handouts in an envelope that talk about the edges of a leaf and some ways to identify leaves. And this all just gets students thinking about how leaves are different and how their differences identify trees. And then this is a really important one. This is also in Center 1, but it's important to review here because this is how you can identify and match for one of the leaf games, the leaf vein patterns. Palmate is your same as your palm, parallel is like grass, and pinnate is like a feather. So you go over that, and then in addition, there's a time for a brief discussion about why leaves change color. There's a bunch of books in here, and there are some laminated handouts as well. And I like to do this ahead of time, and bookmark some pages that I think will help me illustrate what I'm trying to teach the kids before. This one talks about how you take chlorophyll out of a leaf, and chlorophyll is what makes the leaf green, and so here's an example of the chlorophyll leaving the leaf, and then a very fancy microscopic explanation of a leaf filled with chlorophyll and one in autumn where the chlorophyll is left. So after you've done that, then you'll jump into game, and if it's kindergarten and first grade, the game is called Leaf Concentration. It's super important to keep these as a set. There should be 20 cards in the packet. Please take really good care to keep track of the cards. Count them before you start and after you finish to make sure they're all there. And the cards have different leaves on them. And the different leaves are identified. Let me look at the one that matches. Ta-da, those match. Are identified on a key. We always like to provide a key to help you talk about them. So to play concentration, for those of you not familiar, you would lay a whole bunch of these, all of them, out in a larger space, obviously. And the students would take turns turning over 2 leaves to try to find some that match. Those don't match, you turn them back over, and you try, the next person tries. The next person turns that one and thinks, oh, I saw a pattern like that where the leaves had kind of a finger-like pattern to the edges. I think it was this one. Ta-da, and it was, and they match. So, and if you're not clear, there's also, as for the adult, a key on a brown dot. So that is concentration, leaf concentration in a nutshell. The other game is Crazy Leaves, which is modeled after Crazy Eights, which, so you're gonna, it's like when you play Crazy Eights, and you throw out, and you have, everybody has cards, and then you start with whatever cards are left over in a pile, and you turn the first one over. And the people that have their 5 cards look and see if they can match that. I can match that because I've got a spade. The spade matches a spade. An example of that with leaves would be if I had my stack, whoops. So instead of cards, I would have a stack of leaves here, and I would turn over. Yeah, here I'll make a quick stack of leaves.
Stack leaves. Oh, it's getting
So I would
bumpy in
have
our
this
camera.
stack of leaves, and then I would have leaves in my hand. So I'm playing the game, and the first leaf that gets turned over is this one. So I look at it, and I don't have one that matches it exactly, but this leaf pattern is pinnate, palmate,
Pinnate.
pinnate, and this one also happens to be pinnate, and so I match, and I can lay that down, and then the object of the game is to get rid of, maybe that's clearer on the back.
Yeah. That's good.
The object of the game, so this one is not exact, that one's exact, that's not pinnate.
Well, I would call that pinnate too, yeah.
That would be pinnate,
This is palmate.
right? Yeah. The object of the game, the same as cards.
Those two would be toothed.
Oh, yep. And these
Look at the
would be-
leaf margins, they both are kind of bumpy, so that's another way to match them.
Yeah. And then you could, I mean, and then they could, I mean, if you had, if they matched exactly, that would be fine too. The object of the game is to be the first person to have all your cards, which are leaves, gone. So that's why you need a variety, so that every kid has a different set of leaves in their hand, and that there's a whole different set of leaves coming up from the dealer pile. If you're not familiar with Crazy Eights, you can ask your kids and ask your neighbors, and hopefully that will be a clear explanation. So that's pretty much it. It's just helping them really focus on the parts of the leaf and the characteristics of the leaf. If you have any questions, you can email us at mitchellelf@gmail.com, and that's Center 2.
Yay.